Okay. The April 10th, County Civil Board of Commissioners meeting. I'd like to welcome everyone. First thing on our agenda is to approve the agenda. I'd entertain a motion to do that.
Make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign, the motion carries. Also entertain a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Make that motion.
Have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed by like sign, the motion carries. Second thing on our agenda is the swearing in of our new board member, Mr. Joe Walker. You step forward, please.
Wait, shut that line. I state your name. Do solemnly and sincerely swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of the state of North Carolina, inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of my knowledge and ability. Do you? I state your name. Do swear that I will well and truly execute the duties of the office of Commissioner of the town of Sylva according to the best of my skill and ability, according to law. Do you?
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'll now take your seat. I assume we're working on his nameplate. Okay. Welcome aboard. Okay. Next on the agenda is public comments. We have a lady named Kate McKittrick signed up.
Said that perfectly.
Hello, as you said, my name is Kate McKittrick. I'm here to comment on the construction of a gas station convenience store at the corner of South River Road and 107, land that sits within the Sylva ETJ. I live in the Webster ETJ and care about this matter because parts of the community of Webster and its ETJ are immediately downstream from the gas station project, and I appreciate the opportunity to share my ideas. I want to start by saying that I believe Mr. Lewis has tried to be responsible. He's followed the existing regulations governing the construction of businesses in Jackson County, and as clearly outlined in recent articles in the Sylva Herald, has gone above and beyond what is required. I appreciate his efforts to be a steward of the environment. However, there are no safeguards that would persuade me that it would be safe to build a gas station on the banks of the Tuckasegee River. I understand that my comments may be interpreted politically, but for me, this is not political. I guess you could say that almost everything can be interpreted politically, but I'm coming from a place of just disagreeing with his decision to build there and, an understanding about the potential for harm. I think there are a lot of people. I spoke at the Jackson County Commissioners meeting last week and also the Webster, because I live in the Webster ETJ. I spoke at that meeting. And I'm just going to kind of repeat what I said at that meeting. Let's consider the impact of storms in Western North Carolina over the last 20 years. Back-to-back hurricanes Francis and Ivan in 2004 caused widespread damage. The storm exacted a heavy price in Haywood County in August 2021, including the loss of 6 lives. There are many safeguards that Mr. Lewis has built into his project, some of which are meant to withstand a 25-year storm, some of which are meant to withstand a 100-year storm. In the initial article in the Herald said that the water from Helene, when it came near to us, did not come anywhere near to the land on which the project is being constructed. But I think it's important to remember that initial forecasts suggested that Jackson County might take a direct hit from Helene. And at the Webster meeting, we heard a person who is a national expert on flooding talk about what would have happened if that storm had come 15 miles in a different direction. And can't really quote him, but he was basically saying, if my words are, imagine what would have happened if we'd had a direct hit and this project had already been constructed. That's kind of where I'm coming from. I think it's important to acknowledge that there will be more storms and that they will be more severe and that we need to plan for that. All of us are familiar with risk benefit analyses. We make them daily, and usually we're weighing the risks and the benefits to ourselves. I recognize that Mr. Lewis is an entrepreneur and taking risks, but he's not the only one who's taking risks. In this situation, Mr. Lewis and our tax base may benefit, but all of us are exposed to potential risks. And again, at the county commissioners meeting, people spoke very eloquently about their experiences with cleaning up after Helene and what that might mean for a fishing industry that in Western North Carolina has been valued at $1.38 million. It's a big industry. I'm here to state my opposition to the granting of the permit, which has already been done. I understand that. And I don't know that we have an opportunity to do anything about this particular project, although I'd like to suggest that we might be able to get creative about that if people were open to that. But also, I'm here to say, I think there's a problem with the process, especially because it doesn't include the people who face really significant risks, the people whose businesses and livelihoods depend on a clean river. And again, many of them spoke very passionately about what they've invested and how that could be taken away from them without even an opportunity to comment about it. And also, I just like to acknowledge that this is our watershed. And so our drinking water depends on it. When I was at the Jackson County Commissioners meeting, I asked the county commissioners to take responsibility for making sure that this doesn't happen again. I support the creation of a comprehensive Jackson County plan for smart development by a group that involves all stakeholders, including people who rely on the Tuck for drinking water, fishing, boating, and others whose businesses depend on a clean and beautiful Tuckasegee River. And at the risk of bringing up something that I think, triggers a lot of powerful feelings, we've recently experienced the loss of multiple businesses, at least partially as a result of inadequate planning related to the 107 corridor. And I'm aware that a plan exists. I've seen the Sylva land plan for 2040. And I think this kind of request on my part is consistent with that plan, which is we'd like the NC 107 corridor to be like a model for other communities about how to develop in a way that is smart and thinks about what we're facing. I think it's okay. Thanks. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. Moving on. Start with the mayor's report. I would like to express my sincere appreciation for Jake Scott and his crew. I stayed with them most of the day. A couple of days ago when we were trying to fix that dangerous little place, where we had a lady fall and hurt herself on the sidewalk pretty bad with a sunken place on the sidewalk, which later revealed a 4-foot hole underneath the sidewalk with a bad drainage pipe that wasn't repaired correctly many years ago, but it's repaired correctly now. Jake and his crew did an outstanding job. I would also like to see this board in its entirety vote to send a thank you letter to the Twassell Board for their cooperation and the way they've helped us all day with their equipment, time, personnel, and stuff out of their warehouse that we will replace. I've never seen better camaraderie with two groups helping each other than the town of Sylva and Twassell are exercising right now, and I think we owe that board at least a thank you letter from this one. If everybody's in consensus agreement with that, I'd like to have our staff send Twassell a thank you letter to their entire board. That's all I have.
I just want to remind everybody that the 41st annual cleanup is this Saturday. And it's registrations from 9 until 11 at WCU's Alumni Tower. If you want to hop in a raft and work on cleaning up our river after Helene, it sure needs our support. I hope to see you all there. That's all.
Thank you. Say 9 o'clock.
9 is the registration start time. It's open to 500 volunteers, and last year there was 489.
9 o'clock this Saturday morning.
Yes, sir.
And where is the place that they're gathered at?
They'll gather at the Alumni Tower on campus of the universities.
Well, not
Yeah.
how. Sing.
Yep, and then they'll ride a bus to Dillsboro.
Okay.
And then that's where they'll launch boats. You would want to wear shoes that you don't mind getting wet, clothes you don't mind getting wet, but not flip-flops. And wear
So they're gonna clean up
life
the
jacket,
Dillsboro Dam.
Yeah, there'll be different stations, different spots. There'll be opportunities to walk or to ride in rafts. They'll take the buses to each location that they plan to drop folks off at, and then they pick them up and bring you back to campus.
Interesting.
It's a big day.
Yeah, sounds good too. Good, Brett,
Nothing to report today.
thank you for report for that. Yeah. Never do report. Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to welcome Joseph to the Sylva Town Board. That's it.
All right.
Yeah, welcome to Commissioner Waldron. Glad to have you here. Sylva's fortunate to have you on this board. A couple of things from me. Wanted to give just a big shout out to Bernadette Peters and the group, the Main Street group, for the efforts of cleaning up downtown area 2 Saturdays ago, maybe. Good turnout for that. And I don't know numbers, but that we had over a dozen people, maybe 20, and everything from little kids to seniors show up to help clean up, pick up trash, spread mulch. And she had everything very well organized. Mulch was ready, the tools were right there, the trash bags, everything was ready to go. And so it was good to see the turnout and everything got done with that. So grateful for that. Was also able to attend the Pinnacle Park board meeting the other night, and Equinox presented their master plan for the park, and a lot of good things happening there. I won't go into all those details, but there's some really good things happening for the Pinnacle Park in the works. And bringing up the mountains, that's Saturday. The board will have a booth and selling some swag to kind of raise some money for that. Friends of Pinnacle Park starting that, and so come by and see the group. They'll be there from like 10 to 4, selling some things there and put the word out about the park. So that's it.
Other commissioners always remind me of something that, but it's been discussed to some degree, the ribbon cutting and grand opening of our new bathrooms will be during the Green Up Mountains. And I'd love to see our entire board there for that. And we're also inviting the whole board that's responsible for doing it as well. And I think the decision's been made to invite Odell to cut the ribbon since he designed it. Anything else about that?
2 o'clock, the day of bringing up the mountains. So I hope you all can attend.
So moving on to our manager's report.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We're excited to have you. So thank you all for approving the amended consent agenda for the emergency repair in front of Carly and Cass. I want to thank Public Works and TWASA for their assistance in that timely repair so that they could get back open. I also want to thank Duke Energy for mobilizing quickly to get a crew to take down the pole and hook it back up so that they had more room to work. That was imperative to make that a safer work environment. As far as the budget update, the balanced draft budget will be sent to you all on Thursday. I'll email it to you, but I'll have a printed copy here for the budget work session, which will be after our next meeting, April the 24th. We'll review the draft budget and the fee schedule. The draft budget will be very similar to what you all saw week before last. I think the budget work session will probably only take about an hour, so we should be finished before lunch for planning purposes. Employment update, Public Works is still accepting applications for the vacant maintenance technician position. And Sergeant Ryan Griffin has submitted his resignation letter for the police department. Bryson Park is looking really good. The tile in the restroom is complete. I've got several pictures on my phone if you want to see it. I'm very impressed with it. The siding will be painted soon, and the target date to reopen the park is still in June. Paving the concrete area and then also resurfacing the basketball court are the two main things that will take some time to coordinate. So the ribbon cutting during Greening Up the Mountains, and our town offices will be closed April the 18th for Good Friday. That's all I have, unless you all have any questions.
I have a question.
Okay.
With the street lights on Main Street, do they change with daylight savings time? I just noticed it was particularly dark the other morning, and I just am concerned about walkers and runners. Is it?
I don't think they're on a timer. I think it has to do with the amount of light. I'll get a better answer for that.
That's
but-
all. That's it.
Yeah, I think it goes on and off by the amount of darkness it's.
Daylight it does.
Okay, so maybe I just caught it. Man, it's dark. I would hate to be walking by.
Yeah,
Okay, just curious.
I think that's the case.
I think so, because there are some areas that don't have a lot of, well, that have more trees that come on sooner. They don't all come on at the same time.
And I've noticed that at my house, streetlights over toward the park come on first. And the one across the street will hum a little while and it'll come on like an hour later. You know, I don't think any of them's on a timer. I think it's about the amount of light they get.
Thanks.
Anything else? We're moving on to new business. FY 2024-2025 audit contract. I'm assuming that you need a motion and vote on that thing?
Yes, the board, we need a motion and vote to approve this.
Okay.
Sheila Gahagan, CPA, was the lowest of 3 bids in 2024. This will be our first second year auditing the town's financial statements. We typically issue that or bid the contract every 3 years. So the cost of an audit contract is $25,000. That's a $500 increase from the cost of last year's contract.
Which is pretty typical, correct?
Yes.
I entertain a motion that we approve that.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. All opposed by like sign, the motion carries. And the last thing on our agenda is to appoint someone to the library board. I'd like to thank Miss Mary for her service all these years on the library board. I know you served it well. Thank you very much for your service, and it's been conveyed to me that Brad has volunteered to take her place. And I guess I'll open the floor for nominations over the library.
I would like to make that nomination for Commissioner Walter.
Okay. We have any other nomination? So, being no more nominations, we'll close nominations and I enter, where we have, the nomination is a motion, is that correct? We have a motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign, and the motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Walter, you now have some more duties. And unless there's something I'm missing, chief, you got anything to say? No, sir. Good. Anybody else have anything? And Brad Waldrop's got a job to do.
Yep, just one more, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, by like sign, we stand adjourned.